What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more J-drama score, and we're going back to the soundtrack slash score for a show I've talked about in a few different reactions so far, Crisis, although I do want to mention, I think I've been saying it's 2016, that's wrong, it was 2017, and I think I didn't get the DVD set till 2018, so it's a little bit more recent than I was thinking. So yeah, like I said, the show was in 2017. Now, I've mentioned it a few times on the soundtrack. It's the soundtrack slash score. It's done by two people. Every track I've reacted to so far is done by the first composer, and very famous throughout Japanese TV show scores and soundtracks, movies, anime. That is Sawano Hiroyuki. And so the first, I think I've reacted to four tracks so far from the soundtrack. All four of them have been by Sawano Hiroyuki. But this time we're going to listen to a piece from the other composer, whose name is Yamamoto Kohta, or Kota Yamamoto. But yeah, if you use the Japanese style, you say the surname first, so it would be Yamamoto Kohta. In any case, he does, I assume it's a he, I say that, on one of the J-drama websites I use, it's like a wiki, so all the information, who the different actors and actresses are, who produced it, who did the music, and so on. All these composers have their own page. Yamamoto Kohta doesn't have his own page, which to me that suggests that he is likely a younger composer. I say he, Kohta, I think it's generally a male given name, so I think it's a guy. I could be wrong there. But like I said, normally if someone doesn't have an entry on this J-drama, and it's also K-drama and Chinese drama as well, but on this website, usually that means they're a younger performer, and they just, there's not enough information about them yet for them, someone to have put a full entry, like a full page. So I assume that's the case, so I assume this is a younger composer, but they did, it's actually more than half of the soundtrack. There's 19 tunes overall. Sawano Hiroyuki did the first 7, and the remaining 12 are done by Yamamoto Kohta. We're going to listen to a tune he did called Trust You. And, just the phrase, it speaks to bonds between people. And, in this show I mentioned before, it's like a security team that does deep and dirty work that's sort of like unacknowledged officially or publicly by the government. So there's a lot of inaccurate information being announced on the TV, but also sometimes they only get part of the story, so they're told to go take someone down, but it turns out that what they were told about this person is only partially true, and there's other information about this person that would actually make them, second guess whether they even want to do the job if they knew it in advance. So the phrase is, if not ironic, it's certainly like problematic in the context of the narrative of the show, because there's a lot of dishonesty, there's a lot of a lack of trust between their superiors, and even when they come together, there's a little bit at first where they all know they kind of have checkered past, so they're a little unsure if they can work with each other. But over time, the team comes to trust themselves and each other very well. It's just they don't trust what the information they're being given. They don't trust the details of the jobs that they're going out to do. So yeah, the phrase "trust you," it's a very interesting phrase in the larger context of the show. Musically, it's amazing because it's one of those score pieces that blends like emotion and kind of like epic depth, but also a bit of energy and sort of drive, a bit of groove. It's a tune that I think is used in a lot of scenes that are like, as they're doing one of these operations, but they're interacting with other people and trying to get information and trying to make sure, they're not being tools to, do something bad to someone who doesn't deserve it, and so on. So again, like the name Trust You, it sort of speaks at the like, they're trying to do a job genuinely and to not let people get hurt, but they don't know if they can trust what they're being told. They don't know if they can trust, what people are saying to them as they're going out into, the situation to try to deal with whatever it is. So the song, I think, or the tune, it's not a song, it's a score, although there is singing. There's like a melodic vocal, a female melodic vocal that shows up at a couple places. I really think it gets to the like complicated emotions and like atmosphere of what this team is doing over the course of the show. So again, from the show Crisis, Special Security Squad, 2017, starring Oguri Shun and Hidetoshi Nishijima, who's also from Mozu and a number of other things. But this is the tune Trust You. from one of the two composers for the soundtrack, Kota, Yamamoto Kohta, and again, the tune is called Trust You. Record or something. Distorted broadcast. Whew, I love it. Admittedly, like, it's a different flavor than the Sawano Hiroyuki tunes, which are like sort of big and powerful. Again, even Sissierk, which it has very tender and like sweet moments, but it eventually explodes. This was more, I don't know, it just had a different flavor, but I love it. And it's funny because the Sawano Hiroyuki tunes from this score, I know exactly when they're used in the show. I can think of like specific scenes. This piece here, it's like it gives me the flavor of the show, but as I think about it, I can't like remember a specific scene that it's in, which tells me that like the way in which maybe the tunes from Yamamoto Kohta are perhaps like a bit more woven into some of the scenes with, say, dialogue, where you're kind of focusing on what's being said, so you're not really focusing explicitly on the music behind it. I feel like that might be the case with this tune, because it felt familiar, but not as like clearly like, oh right, I remember when they used this in this scene and so on, as some of the tracks from the first part of the soundtrack. So I'm keen and very interested to go through the second and third thirds of this soundtrack, because again, it's like there are more tracks by Yamamoto Kohta on this than Sawana Hiroyuki, despite the fact that I started with like 4 of the tunes from Sawana-san. In any case, yeah, I really enjoyed that. I love especially the part at the end. The last like minute of it, I think, goes to another level beyond what it does before that, even though it's like, it's sort of, you know, A, B, and then back to A, and then B, and then it goes to C. Like, it feels like it could just be sort of like a sandwich kind of structure, and then it actually like goes to this new place right near the end, which I love. But yeah, so shout out to Yamamoto Kohta. Looking forward to more of that part of the soundtrack. Do let me know what you think of the tune. Other than that, I will see you next time. Peace.